At 9:02, it's the end of an era in Cardinal Nation. The Cards dismissed Mike Matheny as manager following an 8-2 loss against the Reds last night. Owner Bill DeWitt Jr. thanked Matheny for his 6.5 years of service to the team and wished him the very best. And President of Operations John Mozeliak added, "These decisions are never easy, but they felt the change was necessary heading into the second half of the season." The reaction has been split between shock and celebration, and we'll be sharing your comments across the screen here in just a few minutes. And while we wait for the Cardinals' address coming up here in about 2 hours, we're breaking down what this means for the team moving forward. And we have Five on Your Side sports director Frank Cusimano in this morning, along with sports podcast host Eric Messersmith. Good morning, you guys.
Good to be with you, Kelly. I don't know how you felt. I was a little surprised. I thought that heading into the weekend, if the Reds, who are a really good offensive team, would really lay it on the Cardinals, and at the break they'd make a move. I thought it would be the hitting coaches. I didn't think, with the way Bill DeWitt has talked about Mike Matheny, that they would get him mid-season. Were you a little surprised?
I was. And people said, "Are you surprised?" I said yes and no. I'm not surprised they made a move. I'm surprised at the timing. I mean, this is an organization that you do not expect to make a coaching change in season. I mean, they've had 4 managers since 1980, 2 under this ownership group. Firing a manager in season is a dramatic move for any organization, but especially the Cardinals.
The first time since 1995 with Joe Torre. Now the question is, do they get better by removing this manager? Because the new manager, Mike Shildt, he has to deal with a right fielder who hits 170, a center fielder who's dramatically dropped off, a left fielder who's just a singles hitter, a first baseman who doesn't field, a second baseman who hits, in the low 200s. Good luck with that job.
Wait, so you're saying the problem is more than just the manager?
Yes, I am.
In sports, you know this, Frank, you can't change the players in midseason. You can't change a 25-man roster. The easiest thing to do to try to get a spark is to change the manager. And that works sometimes. It worked for the Blues a few years ago. When Ken Hitchcock got fired, same players, they went on a run with Mike Yeo. It worked for the Reds. They fired Brian Pena. They brought in Jim Riggleman. They've been much, much better since. So with the same players, maybe a new voice in the locker room can get Marcell Ozuna to start hitting homers and Tommy Pham to turn things around and Dexter Fowler. Maybe.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they got a little bit better. But with this roster, I don't think they're going to get a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Now, the question with Mike Matheny, where does he go next? I think that his resume, I think the first manager in the history of baseball to go to the postseason in his first 4 years, and I think his look, his presence, I think he has a chance to get another job. A lot of guys who have far less resumes get second chances.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he doesn't get another job. I was looking at this today, Frank. You mentioned the only manager in baseball history to make the playoffs for his first 4 years. Since World War II, he has the 8th best winning percentage in baseball. So you're talking about, as a manager, you're talking about 80 years. He's 8th. That guy, that kind of resume gets a job. And I know people say he inherited a good team. There's no question about that. But 6 winning seasons in 6 full seasons, 4 playoff appearances. He's got a pretty good resume.
Yeah, he inherited a good team, which had a roster get progressively worse.
He did.
I always like to tell people when they want to rip Mike to death, do you know how many times in Mike Matheny's managerial career he got to put Albert Pujols 3 and Matt Holliday 4 in his career? 0.
Yeah.
He didn't manage Albert, and then Holliday eventually left. But never. He never had stars. La Russa never would have had a team like this because Jocketty gave him nothing but all-stars. Whitey never would have had a team like this because Whitey went shopping for the groceries.
And now the focus turns to the general manager, I think, and the president of baseball operations. Because you make this move, who's next? You've changed the coaching staff. You've changed a lot of the roster. I'm sure if they're not in it in a few weeks, they're going to make some more big changes to the roster, and certainly in the offseason. There's really not much else to change if things don't turn around.
So a final thought. I don't think this was necessarily the wrong thing to do, but I don't think it was strictly a manager's issue.
No, I agree. Given the way this, and I've been in general a defender of Matheny against some of the over-the-top criticism he gets, but even I agree. It was time. You had to make this move. I'm fine with it. But as you said, I don't think it solves most of your problems.
Good stuff, Eric. We appreciate it. Kelly, back to you.
All right, thanks, you guys. And be sure to stay with Five on Your Side on air and online today as we continue to cover this developing story. We'll be streaming the Cardinals news conference today at 11. And, of course, we'll have our full coverage tonight at 5 and 10. It's now 9:00.